All right, thanks, guys. Happy Wednesday to you. We're actually doing the podcast right in the middle of the little guy getting ready for school. So I guess that's kind of bad. Well, it's not even bad parenting. It's just neglectful. It's no parenting. But anyway, thank God for the wife taking care of stuff like that. But guys, we came off a 3-3 day on our leans on our Patreon plays, on our premium plays yesterday, and a couple of those wins being plus money. So nice winning day for us on Tuesday. Now we're going to look to get a whole lot better here today. So let's go ahead and dive into some personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time here today, and we're going to start off with the Cardinals taking on the Brewers. Now that's going to be a 2:10 Eastern first pitch in Milwaukee. The Cards are minus 125, totals 8.5. Now we did see a 15-cent fade of St. Louis in the early wagering. We saw movement downward on the total as well. The Cards open $1.40 down to 125. Total open 9 down to 8.5. 56% of the consensus is leaning toward the Cardinals, 58% shaded toward the over. Right now the Brewers are plus 115 on the money line. The Cards are plus 125 on the run line. We have Jack Flaherty for the Cards, Jordan Lyles for the Brewers. Lyles comes into this game with an 8-8 record. He also has 113 strikeouts. He gave up 0 hits in his last start. The Brewers are just 3.5 games back for that second wild card spot in the National League. They're right in the hunt there, within striking distance. They're also 38-29 at home, third in offensive walks, first in home offensive walks as well. A couple more things to add about the Brewers. They're 6th in hits allowed at home and 5th in home strikeouts. So doing a really good job. That starting rotation and that bullpen getting those batters out. Now the Cardinals on the other side, they're 25th in hits on the road, 21st in offensive strikeouts on the road. They're also 24th in walks allowed on the road. And when it comes to the total, the Cardinals are 4-2 to the over in their last 6. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the home dog in this one. Give me the Brewers plus $1.15 and the over 8.5 runs in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just got to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Wednesday's Major League Baseball action. Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. The weekend is almost here. Now, before we go ahead and move on, just got to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website, patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily plays on that site. We have a bunch of different memberships and packages. They begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So I'm going to make it real easy for you. The link for that site is in the description section below. Make sure you check that out. Totally a great time on patreon.com. All right, let's go ahead and dive back into some more lines and personal leans. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that like button. The more likes I get, the more reach the video gets when it comes to that YouTube algorithm. That's what I've been told. I don't know. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive back into some more lines of personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Yankees taking on the Mariners. 4:10 Eastern first pitch in Seattle. The Yankees are minus 220, totals 9.5. Now, we saw a 10-cent move toward New York and moving downward on the total. The Yankees open 210, up to 220. Total open 10.5, down to 9.5. 74% are leaning Yankees, 57% shaded toward the over. Right now the Mariners are plus 200 on the money line. The Yankees minus $1.45 on the run line. We have James Paxton for the Yankees, Justice Sheffield for the Mariners. Now Paxton's 10-6 with 152 strikeouts in just 120 innings pitched. The Yankees are tied for the most wins in Major League Baseball. They've got 87 of them. They're 87-47 overall for the year. That's going to put them officially at 40 games over 500. They're also 38-27 when traveling. The Yankees have done a real fine job with this Mariners squad as of late as well. 12-2 in their last 14, taking on Seattle. If you're into historical trends, the Yankees rank second in scoring, second in hits on the road. Now, the Mariners on the other side, they've won just 29 out of 68 at home this year. They're also just 33-62 as the official underdog. Now, total-wise, Seattle's 44-26 to the over at home. The Yankees 44-21 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean New York Yankees minus 1.5, and the over 9.5 runs in that game. Next matchup, Pirates Phillies 6:05 Citizens Bank Park. Now, the Phillies are minus 135, totals at 10. 53% are leaning Phillies, 74% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Pirates are plus 125 on the money line. The Phillies plus 135 on the run line. We have Mitch Keller for the Pirates, Vinny Velasquez for the Phils. Velasquez has struck out 98 batters in just 91 innings. Mitch Keller on the other side for the Pirates comes into this game with a 7.24 ERA, 1.83 WHIP. The Phillies are 39-29 at Citizens Bank Park. They're also 5-1 in their last 6 at home, taking on the Pirates. The Phillies are 50-34 as the favorite. They rank 5th in offensive walks. So there's a couple trends there for you when it comes to the Phillies. Now, Pittsburgh on the other side, winners in just 27 out of 66 away from home. They rank 27th in runs allowed away from home as well. Total-wise, Pittsburgh 6-1 to the under in their last 7, taking on the Phillies. They're also 6-3 to the under in their last 9 games. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Phillies minus 135 and the under 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Orioles Nationals 7:05 Washington. Now, the Nats are the massive $4.50 favorite. Totals at 9. And looks like we saw about a 60-cent move. 60-cent move toward Washington and movement upward on the total. From what I see here, it looks like they opened $3.90 all the way up to minus $4.50. Total open 8.5 up to 9. 57% are leaning Nationals, 73% shaded toward the under. Right now, the O's are plus 360 on the money line. The Nats minus $1.80 on the run line. We have Asher Wojciechowski for the O's, Max Scherzer for the Nats. Scherzer's 9-5 with a 2.41 ERA and a 1.00 WHIP. He also struck out 192 batters thus far on the season. Now, Wojciechowski on the other side for Baltimore, just 2-6 on the year, 4.67 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. I got that ice cold water, and it's only $1. If you've ever been to Camden Yards, you know the ice cold water guy. But anyway, speaking of ice cold, that's been Baltimore this year. But on the other side, the Nats, they're 3 games ahead for that first wild card spot in the National League. They've been winners in 7 out of their last 9. They rank 6th in home scoring, 4th in home hits. The O's on the other side, they are last in runs allowed. Just 1-7 in their last 8 when traveling. And when it comes to the total, Baltimore is 34-29 to the over on the road. So we are going to fade the ice cold Baltimore Orioles. We're going to go with the Washington Nationals minus 1.5 in the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Braves Blue Jays 7:07 Toronto. This game's currently off the board. No line posted for this game as of yet. Now, we do have Mike Fulton-Navich for the Braves, Jake Waguespack for the Blue Jays. Now, Waguespack comes into this game with a 4-1 record, 3.63 ERA, and a 1.17 WHIP. He's also struck out 40 batters in 52 innings pitched. Now, Fulte on the other side for Atlanta, just 4-5 on the year, 5.68 ERA, 1.40 WHIP. Toronto's actually won 2 out of their last 3, and they are 3-1 in their last 4 games where Waguespack made the start. Now, the Braves on the other side, surprisingly, have struggled against the Blue Jays. Winners in just 2 out of their last 6 taking on Toronto. They've lost their last 2 straight games, and they are 25th in walks allowed on the road. So when this one opens up, like I said, this is off the board as of now. No line currently posted. But I got to imagine Toronto will be the underdogs when that line comes out. So I'm going to lean Toronto plus 1.5, getting the job done for some run line cash. All right, next game. Reds, Marlins. And that's going to be a 7:10 Eastern first pitch in Miami. Now, the Reds are minus 150, totals at 8. 72% are leaning towards Cincinnati. And at the moment, the Marlins are plus 140 on the money line. The Reds plus $1.15 on the run line. We have Anthony DeSclafani for the Reds, Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins. Alcantara is just 4-11 with a 4.15 ERA and a 1.38 WHIP. DeSclafani is 8-7 on the year. He's got 131 strikeouts and just 128 innings pitched. The Marlins are the absolute worst team in the National League. They're just 47 and 84 overall for the year, 29th in scoring, which is second to last in Major League Baseball. They're also 28th in hits on average per game. Now, the Reds on the other side, they are 5th in runs allowed on the road, 7th in hits allowed on the road. Total-wise, Cincinnati's 80% to the over in their last 5. Marlins are 4-1 to the over in their last 5 themselves. I'm going to lean Reds minus $1.50 and the over 8 runs in that game. Next matchup, Indians, Tigers, 7-10 Detroit. The Indians are minus 180, totals 9.5. We saw a 10-cent fade of Cleveland and movement upward on the total. The Indians open $1.90 down to 180. Total open 9 up to 9.5. 73% are leaning Indians, 83% shaded toward the over. Right now the Tigers are plus 170 on the money line. The Indians minus $1.15 on the run line. We have Aaron Savall for the Indians, Jordan Zimmerman for the Tigers. Zimmerman's just 1-9 with a 6.48 ERA and a 1.46 WHIP. Aaron Savall on the other side for the Indians comes into this matchup with a 1.82 ERA and a 0.91 WHIP. Now the Indians are 3-1 in their last 4. They're currently 10-0 in their last 10 taking on the Tigers. One more thing to add about the Indians, they rank second in runs allowed when traveling. Now, Detroit is the worst team in Major League Baseball. They are absolutely pathetic. And when it comes to the total, the Tigers are 33 and 28 to the under at home. Cleveland 4 and 2 to the under in their last 6. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Cleveland Indians minus $1.80 and the under 9.5 runs in that game. Next matchup, Cubs, Mets, 7-10 Flushing Queens. The Mets are minus 125, totals at 8. 67% are leaning Mets, 54% shaded toward the over. Right now the Cubs are plus 115 on the money line. The Mets plus $1.60 on the run line. We have Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs, Noah Syndergaard for the Mets. Hendricks comes into this matchup with a 3.20 ERA and a 1.10 WHIP for Chicago. He also has struck out 122 batters thus far in the year. Now the Cubs are 3.5 games ahead of the Mets for that second wildcard spot in the National League. They've also really kind of had the Mets number. Later. Shut her door, man. What are you doing? Going to the bus stop. Nice. Rocking the Supreme hoodie. Going to school. Early in the morning. Later. All right. So let's get back into it. As I totally neglect the child's well-being for YouTube. All right. Walk yourself to the bus stop. All right. Once again, the Cubs. 3.5 games ahead of the Mets for that second wild card spot. They're 12-3 in their last 15 taking on the Mets. Really been dominant when it comes to facing New York. They're also 5-0 in their last 5 in Flushing, Queens. The Cubbies are 8th in offensive walks, 8th in runs allowed. The Mets on the other side, they've lost their last 4 straight. They're starting to cool down a little bit. They're also 20th in offensive hits at home. Now, total-wise, the Mets are 34 and 28 to the over at home. The Cubs 35 and 30 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me the Cubbies plus $1.15 and the over 8 runs in that game. Next matchup, Rays, Astros, 8-10 Houston. The Astros are minus 200, totals at 8. Not a whole lot of movement on the total. We did see a 10-cent fade of Houston in the early wagering. They opened 210 down to 200. Total open and remains at 8. 61% are leaning Astros, 67% shaded toward the over. Right now the Rays are plus 180 on the money line. Houston minus $1.15 on the run line. We have Ryan Yarbrough for the Rays, Garrett Cole for the Astros. Yarbrough's 11-3 with a 3.29 ERA and a 0.87 WHIP for the Rays. And Tampa's second in runs allowed on average per game, third in hits allowed, second in striking batters out. Now the Rays are just 1 game behind for that second wildcard spot in the American League. They're 76 and 57 overall for the year and 42 and 26 when traveling. Now the Astros kind of struggling against this Rays squad as of late. Winners in just 2 out of their last 8 head-to-head matchups with Tampa Bay. When it comes to the scoring, Houston's 5-1 to the over in their last 6, taking on any member of the AL East. The Rays are 6-3 to the over in their last 9. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Tampa Bay plus 1.5 in the over 8 runs in that matchup there.